Welcome back. It's now time for Major Stories. I'm Richard Chen. Well, GLP candidate Anne-Marie Vaz says she will not share the same space with her opponent, PNP candidate Damien Crawford, until he issues a formal apology for statements made on the campaign trail in a letter to the political ombudsman. Vaz says she is deeply concerned regarding the inaction of the office of the political ombudsman on her concerns. Today, she refused to sign the political code of conduct. Here's CVM Live's Rashida Byfield with that story.
The political code of conduct was signed in East Portland with a noticeable absence. The GLP's Anne-Marie Vaz was a no-show due to her refusal to, quote, share the same space with the PNP candidate Damien Crawford until a formal apology is offered to all women of Jamaica. In a letter to the political ombudsman, Donna Parchment Brown, explaining Vaz's absence, Vaz goes on to say the ombudsman's office has failed in its responsibility to fulfill its duties. She refers to what she dubs the refusal of the political ombudsman to respond to the classist and sexist comments made by Crawford during the last 2 weeks. Vaz also speaks to further inaction being the failure of the ombudsman to respond to slanderous negative social media posts against her and her family. The GLP candidate says she is not against signing the code of conduct, but is demanding the ombudsman act in good faith. Meanwhile, her opponent, Damien Crawford, has signed the document and says it's disappointing and hurtful that Vaz did not show.
At the end of the day, I thought we had a good relationship. I have taken their jobs. I thought it was very funny when Daryl Vaz said I only knew the pork shop. They have tried to insinuate on many occasions that my sexuality is that of an homosexual, which is not true. And they have made many jobs on the political platform.
Crawford says he has no control over Mrs. Vaz feeling disrespected, but reiterates the context in which his statements were made. Crawford says he's cautious of making future statements that will be viewed as disrespectful. And the political ombudsman gave strong warnings to the candidates at the signing ceremony.
Candidates are responsible and liable for whatever is done to further their campaign. In that regard, it suits you to always quickly disavow and condemn those matters which may tend to harm your reputation and your campaign if you do not believe in, if you do not support, and if you're not responsible.
Parchment Brown says she has spoken with the PNP's General Secretary about posts on social media targeting the Vaz family. Rashida Byfield for CVM Live.
Well, damning comments this evening by the People's National Party. Fresh allegations of political corruption by the opposition leader, Dr. Peter Phillips, who is calling on the Auditor General to investigate transactions involving the Ministry of Education and the Caribbean Maritime University. My colleague Joel Croskill has more in this report.
Assertions of cronyism in a government ministry. Leader of the opposition, Dr. Peter Phillips, made the allegations while speaking at a PNP post-budget press briefing, pointing the finger of corruption at the Ministry of Education.
We have information regarding the same set of issues of cronyism, nepotism and corruption, which were manifest spectacularly in the Petrojam scandal, being also present in the Ministry of Education involving specifically the Caribbean Maritime University, and how funds from the Heart Trust sent to the Ministry for the Career Advancement Program and the TVET rationalization program are being utilized.
Dr. Phillips called for an investigation into the dealings of the ministry, whilst raising questions about the functionality of political appointees.
We are aware that politically connected persons have been employed as advisors, but are not doing any work, are not operational. This is a waste of taxpayers' money, and it must stop. We are therefore calling on the Auditor General to use her good offices to investigate all these agencies which have been involved in these questionable transactions.
CVM Live contacted officials of the Ministry of Education. However, they said they are going to investigate the matter before responding to the allegations. Joel Crosskill, CVM Live.
Well, in earlier years, Kingston was touted as the entertainment capital of the Caribbean. But following Buju Banton's recent historic sold-out concert, the city's potential to host entertainment events of that magnitude is a hot topic again. But what does this mean for the future of the entertainment industry? Aladdin Love picks up that story.
The future of entertainment tourism looks bright. That's the view from Delano Severite, Chief Advisor and Strategist to the Minister of Tourism. He says arrivals have been trending up recently thanks to a series of festivals from Rum at Hope Gardens to Coffee in the Blue Mountains. Both were attended by thousands of people. However, Buju Banton's Long Walk to Freedom concert was watched by a capacity crowd inside the National Stadium.
The Buju Show really highlighted to the world that Jamaica can be a first-class place for major entertainment shows. To be able to accommodate so many people comfortably at the National Stadium within a very professional setup, I think was absolutely impressive, and it shows to the world that Kingston can accommodate mega events, and we did, and we are very happy about it.
On March 15 of last year, 1,000 foreign nationals arrived at Norman Manley International Airport. This year saw 2,432 people arrive in Kingston, with 7,389 foreign nationals at Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay. He notes that most of the visitors are of Jamaican descent, but holders of British, Canadian and American passports. Severite says the Kingston economy was boosted by millions of dollars. He says the city can continue to pull in huge crowds with increased private sector partnership, thus benefiting the tourism and entertainment industries.
It takes private sector collaboration, which is absolutely important. And the Rum Festival was an example, for example, of heavy private sector collaboration. The Buju Banton Show was an example of heavy private sector collaboration. But beyond that is its full coordination with the respective agencies on the tourism. And we have done that with Carnival, we've done that with Rum Festival, we've done that with Coffee Festival. And ensuring that it is properly marketed.
He notes that more hotels are urgently needed in Kingston to meet growing demands. 3 new hotels are due to open in the next few months. Aladdin Love, CVM Live.
Jamaica is struggling with customer service. Well, that's the word from the British High Commissioner Asif Ahmad, who says there is an issue with getting employees to embrace the service industry along with its ethics. He says customers often have to demand being treated with respect. Khadija Thomas tells us more.
Jamaica is struggling to provide good customer service, and it is being noticed by visitors to the island. That's according to the British High Commissioner Asif Ahmad. He says there's a tendency to confuse service with servitude.
We really have to find a way of breaking through that, because by providing a service, you are not lowering yourself. You are selling your expertise and your knowledge and everything else that goes with it. And there is a huge amount of work that needs to be done. But I think it comes with empowerment, and it also comes with a role that leaders actually have.
The British High Commissioner was speaking at the 37th Business and Workplace Convention and Expo and made the statement that there might be a company policy that employees should provide a particular service, but they do not adhere to these regulations.
But there's a tendency where if you know the boss, if you know somebody in the system, etc., those rules are waived. Sometimes it's waived right in front of the individual who otherwise has been practicing defending those things. And that, I think, in a way is the opposite of empowerment. It's what I call disembowelment.
While the British High Commissioner shares these views, many Jamaicans are in agreement. They believe that there is a pervasive customer service problem that needs to be tackled.
Whoever working in the business place, it's like they come to work but they don't want to work. It's like I sometimes have to tell them, say, if you don't want to work, stay at your yard. You know what I mean? Because it's really bad, man. It's really bad. It needs shape up. You really need shape up.
Customer service in Jamaica is the worst thing in Jamaica, I'm telling you. Because I have been to places, it's like I'm not a born Jamaican.
I would say customer service overall is good. It might not be 100%, but it's certainly it's better.
While getting good customer service has become a problem for many citizens, they believe something can be done.
If we equate ourselves internationally when you travel and the kind of service that people give to you, Jamaica is far lacking in customer service. In general, I will say though that some of the hotels that you go to in Jamaica, on the North Coast especially, do have a high level of customer service.
They should go to some training and be certified.
The call is now being made for further investments in customer service in the island to train employees to effectively respond to their customers, even while under the most stressful situations. I'm Khadija Thomas for CVM Live.
Minister of Transport and Mining Robert Montague officially put a new rescue vehicle to work at the Ian Fleming International Airport in St. Mary. This while highlighting the critical role of the aviation sector to tourism, which he says has made clear the need for modernization and development of our airports. Dexter McKenzie has more in this report.
This airport is going to open up St. Mary, St. Anne and Portland. It is going to put Eastern Jamaica on the map.
The words of Minister Montague at the recent commissioning of the airport rescue and firefighting vehicle for the Ian Fleming International Airport.
This vehicle facilitates a special category of firefighting involving the response, hazard mitigation, evacuation and possible rescue of passengers and crew of an aircraft typically involved in an airport ground emergency.
The minister, who is Member of Parliament for St. Mary Western, highlighted that the airport is a gem for the community which is underutilized, and that the acquisition of the airport rescue and a firefighting vehicle was an essential element in upgrading this airport.
1,000 gallons per minute we can pump out of it. It's a Class A structural firefighting system filled from draft feature and priming pump. The tank can also be filled by direct coupling to hydrant sources and rivers.
Between 2015 and 2016, 2,059 passengers passed through the airport, along with 2,338 aircraft. The minister highlighted that there are discussions around upgrading the international airport from general to commercial aviation, allowing for both domestic and international flights.
The Airports Authority they were looking at expanding the airport eastwards to go across the highway and then go to the cliff. I've said to them, why not look at expanding the airport westwards? That is, build a bridge over Gully Road and buy Mr. Thompson land and put the runway that way.
In the meantime, the airport rescue and a firefighting vehicle is set to help the airport achieve international standards for passenger safety. It will enable staff to respond effectively in the case of an aviation emergency. Dexter McKenzie, CVM Live.
And what's happening in other parts of the world, here's Dexter McKenzie with regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. Miguel Diaz-Canel, president of the Councils of State and Ministers, reiterated on Twitter that Cuba will remain firm and determined in the face of the aggressive escalation of the United States against the Cuban Revolution. Last Friday, the United States Chargé d'Affaires in Havana announced that starting this Monday, the B2 visa for family visits, medical consultations, tourist trips and purchases, which until now was granted for 5 years and allowed multiple entries, will be modified to 3 months and with only 1 entry. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs rejected this decision, which constitutes an additional obstacle to the exercise of the right of Cuban citizens to visit their relatives in that country. According to Washington, the measure is reciprocal, since the U.S. immigration law establishes that visa fees and periods of validity are similar to the treatment offered to their nationals. However, the Cuban Ministry of Foreign Affairs argues that if the United States really wants to apply reciprocity, it should immediately open its consulate in Havana, resume the visa process it arbitrarily and unjustifiably interrupted more than a year ago, and remove the ban on U.S. citizens traveling freely to Cuba. Guadeloupe has formally joined the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS. The Overseas Department of France officially joined the grouping as an associate member at a ceremony last Thursday during a special summit which it hosted. It is the second French-speaking Caribbean island to join the OECS, the first being Martinique. OECS Chairman and Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, said the accession of the French territory was a momentous occasion in the life of the OECS and in furtherance of the deepening and broadening of the regional integration of small Eastern Caribbean islands. Farther overseas, a man has been arrested following a shooting on a tram in the Dutch city of Utrecht, which left 3 people dead. 5 others were injured in the incident, and authorities say the attacker's motives remain unclear. The incident sparked a city-wide investigation and the closure of schools. Let's hear more from the BBC.
The arrest took place 10 minutes drive north of the city centre, where we'll get a few details. We've seen some footage that's come through to suggest that he was on the street when he was arrested. Very close to where I'm talking to you now, basically about a block away, there's another police search going on involving anti-terrorist officers, military police, drones and dogs as well, which is understood to be where Gokmantanis was living. Now, there's a huge amount of journalists there too, but after 7 hours of manhunt from the police, the highest level of alert, terror alert level 5, critical, that has now been reduced in the province of Utrecht to 4. They believe they have caught the main suspects involved. I should also point out, about an hour ago, Dutch police confirming they've arrested a second man, charged him with manslaughter. We're told they're not exactly sure of his role in the attacks, but that means there are 2 people now arrested in connection with the Utrecht attack.
Now that's it for regional and international news. I'm Dexton McKenzie.
Well, those are major stories for Monday, March 18th. We'll have more news later in the program, News Live in 5 with Joel Croskill. Well, the major economic and business potential. The Buju Banton concert takes local entertainment to new heights. Well, how does this sit with the competitive business climate demands, and should there be more government regulation? Professor Opal Palma-Diso, Dr. Carolyn Hale and Delano Seavright, they will help with our analysis. Panel discussion is next.